How does buying a pre-construction unit work? Keep watching. Hello, I'm Sadat, real estate agent in the GTA, and today, as I promised in one of my previous videos, I want to tell you how does buying a pre-construction condo unit work, because we've all heard about it, that oh, it's such a good deal, such a good idea, you should definitely look into it. It's a really good way for people to get into Toronto's real estate market, but a lot of the public don't actually know how the process is, what happens, how to actually approach buying a pre-construction condo. So today I'm gonna try in my best ability to explain everything, every step. But if there is something that I miss, and if you have any other questions still, please do not hesitate to leave a comment and I'll get back to you and try to clarify everything. So let me start from the very beginning. Buying a pre-construction condominium. Basically, there is a developer that wants to build this building, so he has everything registered with the city, the description and the declaration. The description and the declaration, they have it registered with the city, so we know how it's gonna look like. So we know what the plans are. And then they start selling these units, pre-sell them, and usually the developers like to sell at least 70% of the units before they start building. So it's really important that you work with reputable developers. You should ask your real estate agent. They usually know, or you can ask me which ones are better. I will definitely do another video about the top developers in Toronto. So you want to go ahead with a reputable one because you want someone that actually goes through with their promises. So we should know that the process of buying and financing a pre-construction is a little different than buying a typical resale real estate. How it works is that when you buy a pre-construction unit, that unit is reserved for you during the construction, and then when the construction is done and the ownership is transferred to you from the developer. So you're not the owner until the construction is done, but the unit is reserved for you. The good thing about it is that you're very flexible with your money because the down payment is not a lump sum like the other typical resale is. So it's totally down to the developer entirely how they want to go through with process. But I'll tell you how it usually goes. Usually you put down $5,000 after you sign the contract, the agreement of purchase and sale. And the deposit for pre-construction is usually 15% to 20%, typically. You need to pay 5% of it, 5% of the down payment, 30 days after you sign the contract, and then another 5%, 3 to 6 or 8 months after you sign the contract, and another 5% in the next 9 to 18 months after you sign the contract. So you have a lot of time to come up with the money. And if you purchased a property with the 20% deposit, there's another 5% that you need to pay, usually during the interim occupancy. And I'm going to tell you what is the interim occupancy. As I told you, different developers have different ways of approaching how they want to go ahead with the deposit. There is another video I posted about the 8 Elm condo that's being built in Yonge and Dundas. And oh my god, it's one of the most luxurious condos that's going to be built downtown Toronto. So pretty. Be sure to check that out. For example, I'm going to tell you what deposit plan they have. It's different. They want $10,000 once you sign, and in general there's 15% down payment, and then up to 5% in the next 30 days after you sign, 5% in the next 4 months, 2% in 380 days, another 2% in 540 days, and then another 5% during the interim occupancy. So that's how they want to do it. Different developers do it differently to attract more buyers. So I told you that once you buy a pre-construction unit, it is not yours until the construction is done and the ownership is transferred to you. But sometimes, because they start building the condominiums from the lower floors, If you own a unit in the lower floors, it's usually ready to live before the ones on the top. So if your unit is ready to live in, you can move in, or if you want to rent it, you can rent it with the developer's permission without being the owner. This period is called the interim occupancy. It usually is 3 to 8 months before the registration of the condo and before you are the owner. But you still have to pay some amount to the developer. You're not paying rent, you're actually paying the interest of the mortgage that you would get. You are paying a little bit of the maintenance and some property taxes. So now that we know a little bit more about pre-construction condominiums, let me tell you the stages. First stage is for you to find a location that you want to live in, or if it's an investment property, a location that you think is going to be hot for you to rent it out. And you can usually figure out more about the area through your agent. Once you find the location, now you want to see what condos are being built, what pre-constructions are available in that area, and also what are your requirements, what are your favorite floor plans, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, and all of the details that you need to tell your agent so they can find you the proper unit. The sales of pre-construction units have 4 stages. So it's very important for you to work with the right agents, and I'll tell you why. The very first stage of the sales of pre-constructions is for friends and family of the developer. So obviously, friends and family get to first access to the unit. So if they want to get the penthouse, if they want to get the higher floors, they want to get the nicer views, they can. And obviously, there is a family and friends discount. If you have an agent like me that's friends with the developers, you can use that as well. So if you are friends with me, you have an advantage. If you are family with me, you can't really be family unless we get married. And this day that I'm taping this video, I am single, so you can reach out. And I'm just kidding. That's the first stage. Friends and family, they get a first access, best units, best price. So it's really good to have a good connection. And the second stage is called Platinum Launch for the Platinum agents. So there are agents that have access to this launch for the pre-construction condominiums, and obviously one agent doesn't have the platinum access to all the pre-cons available in the market, but a platinum agent has access to a bunch. Different agents have access to different developments. Obviously, I don't have platinum access to all the pre-construction units and developments, but I have my connections. I have a bunch, and different agents have different access. So this stage is actually the lowest price that the development will ever see. So you need a platinum agent in order to be able to get the platinum access. And obviously, after the friends and family, you have access to nicer units, better views, higher floors. And then after this stage, we get to the VIP stage. VIP stage is for other agents and their clients. So the access is available to other VIP agents that are in contact with the developer. After the platinum stage, the prices increase. So the VIP launch has higher prices, and it's whatever that's available after friends and family and the platinum people bought the units. And then the fourth stage is the public launch, which is available to all the public. You don't need to go through an agent to buy the unit. You can just go ahead and do it through the developer or yourself. But because the condominium market's very hot in Toronto, usually the pre-cons sell out during the first 3 stages, so they won't even get to the public launch. So Now it's obvious why you should work with a competent agent if you are trying to buy a pre-construction unit. So obviously, as you can see, when you get into pre-construction, you have ways and options to get better deals. Obviously, if you're buying a pre-construction today compared to its price when it's ready in 4 or 5 years, if you were to buy it in 4 or 5 years, you wouldn't be able to get it with this price. So obviously, it's a really good deal, and there's a lot of appreciations in your asset. After you find the right property, after you sign the contract, you should write the checks for your deposits, which are split into several months during the transaction. Then you have 10 days called the cooling off period. This is only for the new construction condominiums. You have 10 days to review all the documents, and it is recommended that you work with a lawyer that has experience in pre-construction to review your documents for you to make sure that everything looks good the way that you want it. If something doesn't feel right, if you don't like it, if for any reason you change your mind, within this 10 days you have time to totally change your mind and get all your money back, which is amazing. But then after that 10 days, you need to pay your first deposit. And about financing and securing a mortgage. Obviously, until the condos are not ready and they're not registered, you cannot register a mortgage under them. But you can get a commitment letter from your mortgage entity, but you have time until about 3 months before the construction is done to guarantee your financing. I have another video that totally explains how getting a mortgage for pre-construction and resale works, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. So now you need to wait until a certain point that the shell of the condominium and the units are ready. Then, because this is your unit, you get to customize it. Your developer will reach out to you for you to choose the finishes and colors, or if you want any upgrades so you don't have to go through the hassle of demolishing and renovating it yourself afterwards. You can just go straight to any upgrades that you want. And this is my favorite part because you actually get to do things the way that you want and just build your dream home. But usually the upgrades are a little too expensive compared to if you were to do it yourself, but still it's all about the time you're saving and the hassle you're saving of the demolishing and renovation and construction. So it depends on your situation, and you got to see if it's worth it and it works out with your situation and your budget. And obviously, if you do the right things and the right colors and the right finishes, it adds value to your property. So let me sum up the benefit of buying pre-construction units. Toronto's condo market increases yearly on an average about 5%. But it has been far more during the recent years. From the moment that you buy your condo at the existing rate today, the value of it starts to appreciate. So even if down the road before the construction is done, you change your mind and you're just leaving the country, you're leaving the town, and for whatever reason you don't want the house anymore, you can assign it with the permission of your developer. You usually have to pay an amount for them to assign, because obviously you don't have the ownership yet, but you have an assignment. You can assign it to somebody else. Even if you do that 2 years after the day you bought this, your property has already appreciated, so you're getting more money back. So the good thing about it is that with putting down a small down payment, you actually get to buy a property that will significantly appreciate with time. So this is an amazing option for first-time buyers, for younger people, and it's an amazing investment, kind of a long-term investment. But it's amazing if you have some money, but it's not as big enough for you to put down a down payment for a resale property. This is an amazing option for you to appreciate the value of the money you already have. And then after the unit is ready, maybe the condo itself is not totally ready, the higher floors are not ready, but your unit is ready, you can move in in the interim occupancy, as I told you, or if it's an investment property, you can rent it out with the permission of the developer. And that's it. You are a homeowner. And that's it for today. I hope you got some value and knowledge from this. And if you are interested in buying, selling, leasing, pre-construction, anything, please reach out to me. And if you have any other questions about the pre-construction, please leave a comment below and I will explain everything to you. And be sure to check out my other videos. Thank you so much and see you later.